Welcome back, friends, to another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Lidz87 here, and in today's video, I am going to be showing you guys my own personal pull plans for the next several months up into the Luffenia Plus era. Now, before I do get into it though, friends, if you did not see my previous How Worthy Are They video covering Aerith, I did make an announcement that I am taking a break from How Worthy Are They videos. I just literally got burnt out. I wasn't having fun anymore with those types of videos because I wanted to try different things, kind of like what you guys are seeing right now. I do want to say though, thank you guys to the commenters that showed nothing but utter sheer support. Okay, I can't tell you, like I felt that one. Like I was laying in bed reading the comments, man, right in the field. So thank you guys so much for the supportive comments. And there was alternatives of things that I can do in terms of doing videos like that to help you guys plan. So I already started on an idea for that, and we'll see how that progresses. All right, guys. So I appreciate the love and support very, very much. All right, now getting into the video. What you guys see here is a visual forecast calendar, aka a prediction calendar. This one specifically here is made by Jake Matt. There's another one also that I do like. I like both of these. By Vash 1306. There will be links down below in the description. I'll try to get the most up-to-date versions on there. If they're not available yet, I will update the links once those updated versions do come out. Now, first and foremost, that these are prediction calendars. These are not official Square Enix calendars about the game. These are just predictions based on the JP timeline. So it's possible that our own personal plans can get screwed up if they decide to move things a little bit forward. If they decide to give us some more surprise global first LD characters, that could be a wrench in our plans. So to say, because we're going to be like, holy shit, we didn't plan out for said unit. Another thing that I did want to mention is that these are my own personal opinions. These are my own personal plans. So if you don't agree with my poll plans, well, that's a damn shame, because again, these are my poll plans. But please let me know down below in the comments in a kind demeanor about your own plans. If you disagree, like, no, maybe you should poll for blah, blah, blah. All right, all that wonderful stuff. That being said, if I forget something about a character, all right, if they get repeated later down the line, if I call Titus tripods, okay, I'm not a damn walking encyclopedia. I will do my best to talk about the characters as I progress, and it's a lot in the game. So again, I will do my best. I have what I usually like to tell players is that I'm a hands-on type of person, so I have an idea of how some characters work, but when it comes to finite detail, that I would have to like read a lot more into said characters. All right, friends. So is there anything else that I need to cover? Nope. Okay, so what you guys are seeing here, I'm going to be showing you this, you guys, via a design program called Adobe Illustrator. So literally, this is Jake Matt's forecast, and everything on top is what I added on top. So this is what you guys will be seeing in the link. So when I click this layer back on, this is everything that I did add on there. It was quite a bit. It's a type of subscription type application that is made for professional designers. This is actually what I do for a living. I'm a real life graphic designer, so I do have access to these applications. It's not free. These applications are not free, mind you. So if you are looking to do something like this, you might have to find an alternative means to do so. Just go at your own discretion, so to say, but I know that there's free applications out there where you can do that. I think even on your phone, if you download the thing, your phone might have the capabilities where you can just go in there and circle stuff if you would like to plan stuff ahead for yourself. All right, so I just wanted to throw that out there, friends. If you guys would like to do something like this, you might have to find a free app if you don't have these types of applications. Anywho, so let me guys just quickly describe to you what the legends, at least my added on legends, of course, Jake has his own. Jakey Maddie. I'm so sorry. This is their own legend, but this is what I added on in terms of frames. So I did go through the entire calendar and outlined the characters in terms of what I have planned for them. So if you guys see you guys can see it, right? Yep. So if you guys see a green frame, I need that character. I need it. Pity, if I have to, they will get my gems. Blue frame, I want that character. Like, I would love their LD. I'm not going to go ham, so I'm probably not going to go ham with gems, maybe tickets, and if they are a burst character, I'll be happy with the LD weapon. Yellow, whoop, I accidentally moved something. Yellow is, I'm just okay with that unit. Like, I'm just not that interested in them. The unit is fine, But again, I'm just not interested in that unit. But I mean, if there's free multi-draws going on and if I get their LD weapon for free, who am I to complain about that? Red, just no, I don't know. Just no, I don't want that character whatsoever. And there's two more. Orange is if I own their LD already, and purple is if I own both their LD and burst weapons. All right, friends, so let's get into it. Hopefully this isn't too long of a video. All right, friends, so we're going to be starting off. So we are currently in April. Now, these events already did happen. The Emperor, I just have his LD, no burst. Celeste, I did pick up her LD weapon. Aerith, I did pick up her LD weapon. And Nacho, he has not blessed me with his LD weapon. All right, so going forward with RNA will be getting her LD weapon, which she has the capabilities to break every single damn time she attacks. I would love to pick up her LD weapon if possible. I do have her EX Plus maxed out, 3 out of 3 from back in the day when she was absolutely broken. Haters, where you at? The RNA haters. But if you would like to skip out on this, she will come back with her Lost Chapter, and Prompto will be getting an LD on RNA's Lost Chapter. Now, a little bit up ahead, we will be getting Y'shtola, and this was actually confirmed by the most recent Square Enix community livestream, that during this time period right here, there's going to be free multi-draws for pretty much all of the Y'shtola banners, okay? So, I do want Y'shtola, but for the future, for the Burst Plus era, because when she comes out, she's okay. She's not game breaking, she's good, but she becomes so much better with her Burst Plus and LD adjustments. There are going to be LD adjustments made into the game a little bit later down the line. So if possible, I would love to pick up her LD weapon here with gems, and I will token her burst weapon around maybe the Trey and Walk, probably once the Walk LD banner comes out, because free multi-draws, you never know if you could pick up the burst weapon for free, because my burst tokens are, I think they have 12 days of expiring the day I made this video. So I would love to pick up Y'shtola now for future plans. Not Kadash. Kuja, I do have his LD weapon. His burst will not be repeating if I remember correctly, so I should be okay to skip out on that. Sarah, just no. We should be getting a surprise. It was mentioned during the live stream. I know that players have been seeing a bug with Titus. If it's Titus with early LD, I will take that over Sarah, but we'll see what happens with that. Trey, I would love to pick up his LD if possible. If not, that's fine. He does repeat later down the line with her LD and burst weapons. Waka, I'm indifferent about. If we get it with the free multi-draw, that's fine. Massive buffer towards the party, but it's all really RNG based. But his LD does repeat later down the line with Titus, who Titus gets his LD and burst weapon, and with Setzer, when Setzer gets his LD and burst weapons. All right, so this month the main goal for me is going to be Y'shtola. Now, I did make a note here, this purple note, that like starting in between April and May, okay, around this time, I believe is the best time to start saving for the Burst Plus era, because if we look ahead, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. On the 6th month is when the Burst Plus era starts. So you want to save up your resources because you want specific units for the Burst Plus era, for the Luffenia Plus era, because if you don't pick up specific units, you are not going to like the game, because it actually has been a complaint that I'm not going to get too into in this video, that a lot of JP players have been upset with the direction of the Luffenia Plus era, because you seriously need specific units in order to beat Luffenia Plus, which rewards you with the equivalent to realizable materials. So like for EX weapons, you use the book and ingots to realize EX weapons, but with Luffenia Plus, it's with the burst weapon. So you get burst realizable book and burst nuggets to make burst ingots for those limit breaks. All right, friends. So yeah, I would seriously start saving up your gems for this era right here, this green with the green radiant. Yeah, start saving up for that. But we're looking into May now. So May, Terra, I'd be okay. I mean, if we get free multi-draws, awesome. Maybe I might do some tickets on that banner, see if we happen to pick up her LD. I could care less about her births, me personally. I'm sorry, Rez. But Bosch I already have. Great tank, truthfully. Talent I have. A Deuce I could care less about at this moment. She does repeat with Xdeath and Vivi, with Xdeath's burst weapon and Vivi LD. She'll be on that same banner with Vivi LD. I mean, we did happen to get Vivi early on the global side of the game. Mog is adorable. I would love to pick up Mog, if possible, with tickets, but if not, that's going to be fine because Mog does repeat later down the line when Zidane gets his Burst Plus and with the Sid Reigns LD banner, which, oh my gosh, that banner, we'll talk about that later. Garland, I would love to pick up when he comes out with his LD and Burst weapon. Excellent delayer, guys. Excellent attacker / delayer. All right, you guys have already been seeing it. Those of you that already picked up his LD weapon, he becomes even more better with his Burst weapon. I mean, Burst weapons are the cherry on top, but the fact that this guy can dish out some serious damage, I would say he might be the next must pull unit, especially if you are lacking in a physical attacking unit. Okay, so Garland, I would love to pick up his LD when it debuts, and the Burst, depending on how my Burst tokens are, I'll either pity his Burst weapon with Ferris LD banner or the Ignis LD banner. So it really depends. What's your name? 7? Yeah, that's 7, right? I could really care less about, but her LD weapon does repeat with Titus Burst banner and Arciala LD repeat, and with the Lon and Reigns Burst Plus banner with Orin's LD weapon. I mean, she's not a bad unit. Again, like I mentioned earlier, like these are my own personal plans. The unit can be absolutely fine. She has this interesting gimmick that she gets some kind of buff that really increases your party's brave damage. I think at least 40%, if I remember correctly. But the issue is that it ticks down with every single turn, your friend, your allies, or your enemies. So even though it's a nice increase in damage, there is a faster expiration limit, so to say. So she does definitely improve with that, but yeah, I'm gonna say no to that one. Dash Lost Chapter. Yang is on here. Yang does repeat later down the line. He does with his LD lots of follow-ups damage. No, that's Sabin. Sabin ignores defense. I didn't recall if Yang ignores defense or not, but he's not bad with AoE damage. Yang is pretty cool, but he is not for me. So if you guys like Yang, hey, I will say he does definitely get better. Ferris, I would love to pick up Ferris if possible, and Ignis also. These two I would say are pretty good call actions because Ignis, when he gets his LD weapon, he has the capabilities to inflict fire, resist down, and enhance your party members with fire. The only other unit that comes to mind that does that is Lulu, but we all know that Lulu is bad. Rip Goth Waifu. I like Lulu personally. Why hasn't she gotten her LD yet? So Ignis is a nice alternative to that, and that is carried over to his LD call action. So even if you don't run him on the team, beautiful call action. Ferris, same concept with her in terms of her call action inflicting debuffs on the enemy. Very potent attack down and defense down debuffs, which actually come in useful during the Luffenia Plus era, where defense down does come in. It does have a huge impact on the bosses. So tickets, preferably on these banners. Actually, if I have to chase, depending on my burst tokens, I may go on the either of these units. If I had to pick one, maybe Ignis, guys, because of the fire enhance up and fire in peril. Just having that as a call action will be extremely useful. She's still great. But Ignis does repeat later down the line with Xstats Burst banner and Lion's LD banner, and Ferris does repeat on the Bart's Burst Plus banner, where Bart's has his LD weapon on there, and it, of course, his burst weapon. And Ferris is the second LD character. Now, I did fail to mention, I'm sorry, I reminded myself to say this. Around the Emmet Italian Lost Chapter in May, we don't have that yet. We're going to start seeing 2 LD weapons on a banner. So if you guys have been paying attention, you guys have been hearing me say some of these characters are repeated a little bit down the line. So hopefully that helps you plan a little bit better. If I did forget to mention that one of these characters is repeated later down the line, please let me know down below in the comments for other players to see, okay? So this is where you really need to start planning out your LD pulls, especially if you are a huge planner. All right, so we covered this portion. Let's go over to June. Swolbaz, he's cool. He's a nice dark magic attacker. If I could pick up his LD, awesome. Hope I already have his LD weapon, so that's fine with me. Swolbaz has yet to repeat, but as we progress, just keep in mind that burst characters will become burst plus characters later down the line. So, I mean, if you guys like Swolbaz, by all means, he's a good attacking dark magic attacker that severely brave refunds himself at the end of every single turn. Lots of damage. But if you guys already have yourselves an attacking type unit, you should be fine, especially if they're non-elemental, like a Garland over here. So 9. He's all right. I already have his LD weapon. He's a nice shield character with his LD. I'm sorry, I think it was with his first ability. He yells at the Primal Roar, if I remember correctly, and he shields up your party, kind of like Warrior of Light. Same concept with the shields to negate brave damage. What's her name? Fujin. Actually, she does receive her LD weapon here, and she does repeat later down the line with Vein Burst Plus and Shulk's LD weapon. So if you missed out on her here, you can definitely pick her up over there. There's Brave Battery towards the party, if I remember correctly, with her LD weapon, but the main important thing about her is that she has the capabilities to enhance your party with wind and inflict wind resist down debuff on the enemies, just allowing your party members to hit harder. And that actually does come in handy, especially during some stage, well, especially during the 9 Lost Chapter, because usually with the Lost Chapters going forward, after Emmet Italian, they like to focus on the second character's gimmicks compared to the first one, which can be a good thing or bad thing if you pulled, like for me, like I pulled 9 earlier, and then that means I might have to pull on here again, so it's possible I could pick up 9 again, and that's just not good because now I'm getting duplicates LD weapons, and I didn't really plan for that, so just keep that in mind as we progress forward. Kadaj, I am a Final Fantasy VII fan, but I will say this though, if you're a Final Fantasy VII fan, you don't need Kadaj. He's all right. He's a good debuffer. He is a debuffer melee type unit that can drastically prevent the enemy from gaining any type of brave, and he will absorb that instead. So he actually came in handy for me for Divine Alexander, because holy shit, Divine Alexander is pretty rough, and I wasn't able to do it until I actually got Kadaj. But if you don't pick up Kadaj here, during his Lost Chapter, Maria does receive an LD weapon during the Lost Chapter. Where am I at now? So we got Bartz during the Bartz era. Bartz LD burst weapon. Bartz gets introduced with his LD with a very interesting gimmick. It is amongst the very first that we will receive that will do that, is that he inflicts wind resist down, but it's not a debuff. It's actually a buff on himself. So there is a wind resist down aura on Bartz's buff, which is very powerful, and he does win damage. Now, I would love to pick him up for the Burst Plus era. He is a Burst Plus character, and he becomes very strong with this Burst Plus. I mean, he's still strong during this time frame, but that is my plan, is that I want to pick him up now to potentially pick up the other Burst Plus character later down the line. So when it debuts, I would love to pick up his LD on this banner. And the Burst weapon, I plan to chase on either the Tifa or the Galuf banner. It really depends on my luck during that time. Penelo, I wasn't able to acquire her LD weapon, so if I am able to pick it up here, that is great. That is awesome. It is on the second banner, so if it's a free multi-draw, great. But if it's not, I'm not going to go out of my way to chase her. Spoony Bard. Edward. I was like, wait, what the hell's your name? Edward coming into the game. LD boards. More damage. Okay. That puts enemies to sleep. Palom gets an LD weapon. Massive ice attacker. Very, very strong ice attacker. If you don't have an ice attacker for Spoony Bard's Luffenia, you might struggle a little bit. So consider either Kurosame or Celeste. Celeste does enhance your party members with ice, so she'll come in handy here. But me personally, I'm not interested in Palom. He's a fine unit, okay? But I'm just not interested in him. He does repeat. His LD does repeat with Ace Burst Plus and with Quistis' LD weapon. Galuf. Amazing tank. He's always been a great evasion. I guess I really can't call him a tank, right? Because he's more of an evasion attacker. So evasion attacker, pseudo tank, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. He's a great unit. He evades, he counters with his LD. He buffs up your party members' damage, letting them hit harder, and he will cover for them, also allowing them to have HP regen. He kind of has an Arden LD effect where he can't die once his LD buff is up. So keep that in mind. Tifa. Bonkers damage with their LD. Lots of damage. Great for taking on the ultimate trials for a summon board grinding. Just put that in auto plus and let her nuke the damn the summons. All right, so again, this is where I plan to pull for Bart's burst plus weapon. But if you're not interested in Tifa now, would like to plan for later up ahead, Tifa is repeated with the Zidane burst plus banner and the AFMU LD banner. So Zidane's literally burst weapon and AFMU LD. That's where Tifa will get her LD weapon again. Where we at? All right, El Nacho. Is this where you get your burst? Yes. This is where he gets his burst weapon. So El Nacho, his burst is kind of interesting that it allows your party members to do more Bray damage based on the amount of debuffs that are on them. So kind of like, what's his face, Kefka. His own debuffs, they will not count down. So that could come in handy. You could have Terror up at all times. I'll throw some tickets for his LD and potential burst weapon. I'm not going to go out of the way. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get his LD when he just came out right now. So we'll see how RNG decides to treat me later down the line. Noelle, I could care less about you. Same thing with Strago and Ashe. Strago doesn't get anything. The Lost Chapter focuses on Ashe's gimmick, where Ashe has the capabilities to enhance your party members with Holy and Thunder. In order to increase the special counter, you have to inflict those types of elemental damages. It'll increase by 1 with Holy and 1 by Thunder, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong down below in the comments. But Strago does repeat with Cloud of Darkness, Burst and LD, Burst plus LD banners, and Ashe does repeat on the Ace, Burst banner, and Zac LD banner. So if you did miss them out here, you could pick them up later down the line and potentially come back and stomp Strago's Lost Chapter Luffenia stage. Iroha actually has an interesting gimmick also. Very, very interesting actually. We're in the form that she has party-wide Brave discounts. So whenever your party members dump out their Brave, there is a discount of how much is used. I think it was 20%. So they will not use up that amount on when you dump out your HP on the target. So this allows your party members to still hold on to their Brave, which is pretty nice. It'll help you from getting broken, and this is carried over to her call action. So I'll throw some tickets on this banner. We'll see what happens. But if not, she is repeated on the Vayne LD and Burst Plus banner. Iroha is the second LD character on there. Lale, the Chase King, LD and Burst. If I remember correctly with his LD, something along the gimmicks of when you initiate a chase sequence, it doesn't matter if the enemy is in the way, it will ignore their turn and let your other party members get up there in the chase with you. So very handy for Transcendence. What was that? 3, if I remember correctly. Yes, Transcendence 3, Crucible 1. Yellow Crystal Affinity character must be in the party, and you have to initiate a chase sequence in order to increase the special counter. You're going to be fighting the Gao, the 3 dinosaurs, so that's a pain. I'm going to be throwing tickets on this banner. If I don't get it, I might have to rework my first dimensions in Transcendence, because on the JP side of the game, I did take Ramza on the left Crucible with Cloud of Darkness before her Burst Plus. So literally next month is Cloud of Darkness. That's when I was able to do Transcendence Crucible 1. And I really remember the ones that were a pain in the ass for me. Kais already have his LD weapon. Cryo, I didn't acquire it. So we'll see how some tickets treat me on that banner. But I do have Celeste already, and not a bad spot to pick up Celeste if you have yet to acquire her. Kurosami's Lost Chapter. Kurosami LD boards. He actually becomes an ice enhancer towards your party members. Well, he already does ice resist down, and this is carried over to his LD call action. So if you already have Kurosami and you don't want to pull for Cypher, that is absolutely fine. Cypher becomes a delayer also. Okay. You might hear some players call him like a discounted Garland. Cypher is Cypher. He does excellent damage. He's a good character. But I would say if you do have Garland, you don't need Cypher. But again, they're both good characters to have on your team composition. So me personally, I may throw some tickets on this banner. Really depends on if I do acquire Garland or not. Because if I have Garland, I'll be fine. Now, here is probably where I am going to hopefully directly influence you guys. Don't skip out on Porum. Please do not skip out on Porum. Please, please, please do not skip out on Porum. Plan to pity her. Pity her LD if you have to. Where the hell are my notes? So Porum. She already has the capabilities to reduce HP damage your party receives with her second ability and with her EX ability. With her second ability, it's for the target. Her EX ability is for your entire party. She has massive battery. She can confuse enemies. She has debuffs built into her kit with her LD. Upon using her LD, she's going to receive a buff that is going to give the party HP regen. There's going to be more HP for your party members. There is a last stand type aura. I can't remember off the top of my head right now if it's a special effect. Let me know down below in the comments. But what's also beautiful about this is that when HP is at 100%, recovered brave will be increased by 20%, which is going to help you with the Luffenia Plus era, because once Luffenia Plus comes around, there's going to be a more beefier brave damage reduction on top of brave gained reduction. So Porom has been a staple. I can't tell you how much of a staple she has been in a lot of Luffenia Plus runs. And also with her LD, every time she does something, okay, she follows up. There is follow-up damage that reduces the enemy's brave based off of her HP, 100% of her HP. So it's gravity-like effect. She dumps it out. There's battery towards the party. I'm sorry. I'm too excited about it. So there's follow-up damage. There is gravity-based and then HP damage across entire enemies based off the party's HP, if I remember correctly. So don't skip out on her, guys. She is an absolute must-pity LD character that is going to be extremely useful even in the Luffenia Plus era. And where are we? How many months is that away from here? Like, see, 1, 2, 3, 4 months. She's still being used. She is a very powerful character, right? So please don't skip out on her. So if I do happen to pick up Lael's LD weapon here, it is possible I can pick up his burst here, which I will be happy with. Unfortunately, Lulu does not get an LD weapon. Why the hell haven't you gotten an LD weapon? FEOD Transcendence campaign. Now this is a triple LD and burst banner, kind of like our Start Dash campaign banner. There is another one later bit down the line right here with Bond, Kefka, and Arden. I thought there was another one. Oh, there it is. Right, with Shantoto, Noctis, and Terra. So on here, Sephiroth gets a rework LD boards. He does receive a gold frame debuff. I failed to mention that with Kadaj. Kadaj is the very first character to receive a gold frame debuff. So it's going to be in tiers now. There, you got your standard, generic debuffs. You got your silver frame debuffs, which are going to be frame debuffs. And then you have your gold frame debuffs. Those cannot be removed to this day on the JP side of the game by anything. They can't be dispelled or removed or pushed off. So Sephiroth gets that with his LD debuff, his cellular degeneration. I think that's what it's called on the JP side of the game. I forget what it's called on the global side of the game. I like cellular degeneration. Sounds pretty good. And amazing damage, amazing call action for the Luffenia Plus era, because he does increase the brave damage dealt to the enemies with that debuff on them. Warrior of Light boards becomes a much better tank. Paladin Cecil gets his wait, he already has LD boards. He does repeat here, so if you guys missed out on Paladin Cecil is still a very strong unit with his auras, even in the Luffenia Plus era. Paladin Cecil hasn't received anything else, and he is still ran in Luffenia Plus content because of his aura. So if you don't have any of these units, or even if you just have one, maybe it's Warrior of Light, I would consider throwing resources on this banner to try to get Sephiroth. Potentially Paladin Cecil also, but I would say the main prices here would be Sephiroth because of his LD call action, because of the damage he can do. Me personally, I already have Sephiroth's and Paladin Cecil's LD and burst weapons. I only have Warrior of Light's LD weapon. So if we get a free multi-draw, I'm hoping I get Warrior of Light's burst weapon. I would love to get that thing if possible. August. Now we're looking at Cloud of Darkness with her LD and burst weapon. She is a burst character during the Burst Plus era. So if I can't pick her up here, I will get her during the Burst Plus era. She is a great, amazing delayer. And it's true because there's actually a few Luffenians that you have to initiate delays in order to increase the special counter. And that's even more true during the Queen Luffenia, where you have to delay the enemies by 3 turns, and Cloud of Darkness can do that with her second ability. Okay, so very powerful friend support unit. Cloud of Darkness with her burst effect. It's almost like Noctis, but AoE. So whenever your allies attack the enemy, she will do like an AoE sweep on all the targets. So very powerful friend support. Very powerful unit to even have on your own team composition, especially true with her Burst Plus. You're going to be seeing her often in a lot of runs for content because of her burst effect as a friend support. Very powerful unit. All right, friends. So again, I would love to pick her up here. It really depends on how my resources are going to be. I'm at least going to throw tickets on this banner. If I have burst tokens during this time, I will get her burst weapon to prepare her for the burst plus era. Gabron, there he is yet again. So this is the second time that he is repeating. He repeats yet again later down the line on Vayne's burst banner and Kate Sith's LD weapon, which actually might be a better spot to pick up Gabron if you have yet to do so. Well, me, I already have him, so we're ready to go. Gladio's lost chapter. Gladio doesn't receive some love. I already do have his LD weapon. Now, Sabin, he actually becomes quite interesting. He does receive a rework. Delayer, defense ignore, very powerful, especially during the Luffenia Plus, because defense ignoring is a thing for Luffenia Plus. Those units will actually hit pretty hard. He can imperil his own elements, so allowing him to dish out even more damage while also boosting up his weakness damage by 30% if I remember correctly. But if you don't pick him up here, he does repeat with the Twins Burst Plus banner. So we'll see what RNG decides to give me. It's kind of rough because, again, like we're seeing these double LD weapons now, and if I already own the previous one, I'm a little hesitant because I have been in situations on the JP side of the game where I've gotten the other unit's LD weapon and I've had to freaking pity the unit that I was chasing. So tread with caution. Okay, try to plan your pulls if possible. Use these prediction calendars. Queen, she's cool. I have her on the JP side of the game. I'm not interested on the global side of the game. I mean, she has party brave damage up. She is a berserker type unit with her EX ability, and she can't die with her EX buff. More brave damage with her EX buff, if I remember correctly. With her LD, party wide, last stand aura, HP regen, HP damage reduction. So she's cool. I'm just really not that interested in her. Tritus, aka Tide Pods. Okay, so Tide Pods is actually a very powerful character. It's interesting because during this era, during this time, is when we start to notice a lot of increase in damage, aka kind of like power spikes. So Titus is one of those when it comes to attackers, but remember, attackers come and go, and Titus has the capabilities to do follow-up damage. He'll kick his damn Blitzball, and on the third stack of his Blitzball buff, he will cancel the break statuses of the enemies and break them again. With his burst effect, that follow-up is triggered twice. So very powerful debuffing attacker. So if you are seriously lacking an attacker during this time frame, pick up Titus. But I will say, though, that he does receive some, or not just him, but because of what happens with the Burst Plus era, because when Titus comes out, he's like a month and a half away from the Burst Plus era, Luffenia Plus era, and they do some things to shut out some of these very strong units, where Titus is going to see or have some trouble during that time period. So if you are fine on units, I would probably wait until the Burst Plus era, because again, it's possible that you won't be able to use Titus for some of that content because you can't either, the enemies can't be broken, or they have some shenanigans where the bosses will just go up ahead and turn, or the bosses will nuke you if you take too many turns in a row. So very powerful during this era, but there you will see a halt to him on the stages that do that. But me personally, I like Titus. I love what he does. So if I can pick up his LD here, awesome. His burst on the Setsu banner. Okay, we're going to talk about Setsu here in a quick second. Aerith, I have her LD. U7, I don't care about. And Arciela, I have her LD already. They're still fine. Aerith is still fine. Arciela is still fine during this period. Who do we have? Reno. Reno's Lost Chapter. He doesn't receive any form of love. I don't recall his Lost Chapter. I really don't. Usually the ones that gave me trouble are the ones that I remember them. But then again, I do have Rosa. Her LD does repeat with the Garland, LD, and Burst banners, the Burst Plus banners. So excellent spot to pick her up if you have yet to do so. She does receive a rework, right? Yes, so it's right there, rework. And HP healing towards the party, which is great. LD increases the party's brave, HP damage, more overflows, brave, refund based off of HP damage. So not a bad unit. And I don't remember if it was during this time or a little bit later. There's going to be a change to the player requirements where reviving is no longer counted against you. So her call action actually does come in handy for the Luffenia Plus era, where you can cheese some of this stuff. Give your party members re-rise. If your party members get nuked, they come back to life and it's not counted against you. So excellent way to cheese the player requirements, the mission requirements, I should say. Setzer. Don't skip Setzer. Another must pull LD character. So on top of his rework, so on top of his freeze joker, batteries towards the party, on top of his delay with his second ability, his LD weapon will give your party members a buff where there's a chance to hit maximum brave damage. Taste the motherfucking rainbow. You will see rainbow colors, okay? Taste the damn rainbow. Very powerful unit. Imagine Fang, all right? Fang has yet to receive love, even on the JP side of the game. Imagine Fang hitting that maximum brave damage. What is it, like 13,000, whatever? Fang can do that with Setzer. Now, he does it. He can allow anybody to do that. Very powerful during the Luffenia Plus era because of those brave damage reductions, those gain brave reductions. Very powerful unit, guys, especially him with Vaughn, which we're going to talk about here in a second. Don't skip him. He is Porum and Setzer have been staples in a lot of teams. And Setzer does non-elemental damage. So enhance him with something and bring him to wherever the hell you're going. Porum and Setzer, in my opinion, are probably the most LD-worthy pity units that you guys have to pick up. Especially as we progress on, all right? Pick him up. Do not skip out on him. He has yet to repeat on the JP side of the game after his LD debuts. Please pick him up. Please pick him up. I'm telling you guys, pick him up. Do I have to beg you guys? Please pick him up. Seriously. Very powerful unit. And his bannermate is Waka, who I still am indifferent about. Yeah, I see you with your eyes. Damn it. Okay, so doesn't yeah, whatever. All right, so boss rush number 5, we're going to be getting Leon. Do you get a rework? No. It doesn't get a rework, neither it does Jack. But he does receive an LD weapon where he does become better. He still remains the same in terms of that he can enhance non-elemental enemy brave damage with Dark. Your party members absorb Dark brave damage, but with his LD, there is a follow-up damage whenever the enemy acts. So just follow-up damage, kind of like Fearing. Imagine like Fearing. Same concept, follow-up damage. He does become better, so if I could pick him up with tickets, awesome. If you guys would love to pick him up with tickets, hey, by all means, go for it. Jack is still the same, but still a wonderful call action. So actually, if you don't have either of these units, this is a wonderful banner for you guys to go on because of Jack's LD call action that inflicts a debuff, a stackable debuff, but you can get it to max stacks pretty quickly. That will decrease the enemy's defense, Luffenia Plus, and increase the amount of brave damage that enemy receives, Luffenia Plus. So very, very handy call action. My players already have this. You guys already know how much that this can improve your damage in Luffenia runs, especially the more beefier ones. So excellent unit if you guys don't have either. Excellent banner if you guys don't have either of these units. Winter campaign. How long is this video? Ooh, almost 40 minutes. Oh, we're almost done. So thank you guys for sticking around. This is a long one. All right. Winter campaign, triple LD and burst banner, kind of like the Warrior of Light, Sephiroth, and Paladin Cecil banner. Same concept here. We got Vaughn repeating. We got Kefka repeating. Vaughn receives a rework. Yes, he does. He hit. Oh my gosh, this guy is like a freaking truck. Receives LD boards. You get LD boards also. Arden does repeat later down the line. Arden is a burst plus character. Already have his LD. but I already have both of I already have Vaughn's and Kefka's LD and burst weapons, so I won't be chasing Arden, and I probably won't with his burst plus. I'm more hyped up about him on the JP side. On global, I'm not as excited because I did the whole Arden thing already. Doesn't mean he's bad whatsoever. LD boards, I forget what you do, but they do increase the debuff slots. I believe it was during this period, this time frame. So it's going to go from, what was it, 6 to 8? So 8 debuffs, or was it 7? 8 debuffs on the enemies. It's going to be wonderful. So Vaughn with Setzer is, I mean, him on his own, he's already strong. He is very, 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 very strong. But because of Setzer letting Vaughn taste the freaking rainbow, he's going to be hitting very hard. And with his LD, he does receive adjustments that he kind of works almost like Bart's. Whenever he attacks an enemy, there's going to be a moment where those enemies will receive elemental weakness to Vaughn's own elemental damage type. But that's only when Vaughn is attacking. So Vaughn, you guys already know, or if you're not familiar, but Vaughn does a lot of damage. Okay, and with his LD buff, he gets free ability uses. Very, very powerful unit in terms of magic attacker. You can't get better than this at this time when it comes to magic attackers. But again, be mindful because 2 months later, we are going into the Luffenia Plus era. But these two, Vaughn and Setzer on the same damn team, very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. So I actually failed to mention something with Setzer. Circling back to Setzer, that buff that he grants his allies that gives them a chance to inflict max brave damage. They actually, every time there's a tick and expiration, the chances go down, but don't let that deter you from his buff. All right, that's it. Progressing. Yuna. Powerful unit. Powerful, 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 powerful support type character. Support characters last longer in the meta, so to say. So she receives a rework. Now she's getting free turns with her first and second ability. She becomes a better healer in terms of Brave Battery and HP healing towards your party. Better damage with Veil 4, right? With the beam that spews out the damn beam. So much, much better. What are we doing? LD, with her LD, as long as your party members don't have debuffs on them, it's going to increase their Brave damage. With her burst effect, as long as there's no debuffs on your party members, it's going to further increase their Brave damage. So almost imagine like Paladin Cecil or like buffs towards your party. She has been a staple in a lot of teams as an LD and burst character. Going into the Luffenia Plus era, that you will see teams, or at least on the JP side of the game, JP videos with Yuna used on the actual team. So me personally, yes, I will be going for her. I do want her LD weapon, so her LD and burst weapon. So her LD, of course, on the debut banner will be here. And the burst, it will vary depending on how many burst tokens I have at the time, and I'll either chase it on the Agrius banner or the Barret banner. Trey, it really depends on if I get him earlier or not, but since Trey is on the same banner, oh, maybe I should skip out on him and pick him up here, especially since I might go ham for Yuna. But, I mean, Yuna is the main prize. As soon as I get Yuna, I'm done, even if I don't have Trey or not, but it'd be nice to pick him up. Dash and Gao, I already have them, so I don't have to worry about them. They don't receive any further improvements, so they are still the same. Then we get a raid event where there is another triple LD and burst banner. We have Shantoto, who gets a rework, a lot of more damage, which is pretty nice. LD boards, burst repeat. Noctis LD boards, finally no rework, but his damage is improved with his LD boards, which helps him out. And Terra, I don't remember at this point about her. Agrius, I would love to pick her up if possible. And she is a enemy disabler, so to say, because she already has paralysis built into her kit. Now with her LD, she does damage, and she can inflict confuse on the following turn with her upgraded brave attack on the enemies. And she actually does come in handy on Kate Sith's Luffenia Plus stage. Oh my gosh, I hated that one. But I'm thinking about throwing tickets on this banner. I don't have this dude, Peslo Jr. What's your name? I forgot your name. I can't think of it at the damn moment. I seriously can't remember your name at the moment for some strange reason. But Peslo Jr. I could seriously care less about. But if I do get it while chasing Agrius, that is a-okay with me. Shantoto, I only have her LD. Noctis, I already have his LD and burst weapon, so I'll be ready for him. Tara will vary depending on her initial LD and burst debut. Shantoto is actually a good call action, LD call action. It's a debuff that will paralyze the enemy, and also while that debuff is up, it's only up for one turn, there's 100% defense reduction on the target. So Luffenia Plus, it's going to allow you to do more damage if you don't have other types of debuffs or abilities that reduce the enemy's defense, okay? Now, where we at? Rude's Lost Chapter. We got Rude coming in hot. Nothing new here. The gimmick focuses on Yuffie, who I mean, I'm okay with. I've never really been a hardcore fan of Yuffie on both sides of the game. I do have her on the JP side. She has the capabilities to steal another buff. More debuffs, more Brave Battery towards your party. Brave Refund. Whenever Yuffie Brave Refund to the party whenever Yuffie does an HP attack. So she gets better, of course, but I don't know. I wouldn't really recommend her. But Transcendence 4. We got Barret coming in hot. Barret party effects are improved, which is pretty damn nice. Massive Brave Battery up to himself. Massive Brave Battery up, HP damage. Party Brave damage, HP damage up. And he can grant your allies 100% critical rate up. So he's not bad. If I had to pick one, I would pick Barret over Yuffie for me. So I am going to throw tickets. Since I might be skipping on Yang early, it's possible I could pick him up here. Yang doesn't receive anything else here, so that's fine. Where am I at? Raid. X-Death, LD and Burst debut. I'm going to throw tickets. He does get a rework with his Burst effect. There's more HP damage whenever an ally acts. So Titus with X-Death comes in very handy, or even a friend support X-Death. Bring them in. Make sure the debuffs are on them. So what was like 2-3 types of HP damage on the enemy with his Burst effect. Then go ham with Titus, because Titus has the capabilities to act back to back to back to back. So the enemy is going to be constantly receiving void HP damage, and it's wonderful. I already have Kieran's LD weapon. He does see improvements towards the party auras, so that's pretty nice. I still wish he had HP healing. It is what it is, so he is literally an aura bot, and he does get better. Lion, me personally, I've never been a fan of her, truthfully. But she does become good. She does become... Wait. Did I miss her? Oh, shit. Wait. Oh, sorry. I forgot to include a note there. Did she repeat sooner? Hold on. So many... I'm sorry, guys. So many faces. Like, I'm trying my best to remember everything. All right. If I didn't cover line... Yeah, she gets it here. I seriously thought she got a rework. Maybe it was just forgotten. But line, she becomes a much better attacker. She has the capabilities to ignore the condition, where I think it was when the enemy is not targeting her, she increases her brave damage. That is completely ignored. More damage. She has the capabilities of removing one buff with her kit. She's cool. She's not bad. Did I not? This is killing me. No. Okay. Never mind. So... She becomes a better attacker. So if you're personally a fan of Lion, by all means, Ignis is another excellent spot to pick up Ignis if you have yet to pick him up earlier for that Fire Enhance and Imperil. So this really depends on if I picked him up earlier or not. Zande, I could care less about. You didn't really get nothing. Zell, I could care less about. Zell does get better, much better. So free abilities whenever they're not in their upgraded state. And he does some chain damage with his LD. He gets like a massive power spike during his LD buffs, whenever he breaks an enemy too, he can act back to back. And on the 4th turn of his buff, he runs around the world and does his awesome punch. So for that reason alone, if you're for the memes, then get Zell. Me personally, I could care less about both of these units. Act 3, Chapter 4.2. It's possible this might be different for us. I mean, a lot of these things are possible that can change. Vivi already have his LD weapon, so it is repeated here. Deuce her LD weapon is repeated on here. She doesn't receive anything. Vivi does receive a rework here. Vivi still does what he does. He's a nice Dark Knight-like in terms of that he consumes the party's HP damage. He does get better, but at that point, I probably wouldn't go ham for Vivi, because look what's next. Save your resources for the Burst Plus era. This is where we're at, guys. This is where it's truly going to matter. This is what you're saving up for. October, first and foremost, that is my birthday month. Okay, so I better be getting burst weapons left and right, okay? If not, RNG might screw me over, and I'm going to be getting that pity. That's what I'm going to be getting for my damn birthday. And burst pluses. So this is where burst pluses and Luffenia plus become a thing. So fast explanation. I left myself a note here for the burst plus explanation. So pretty much kind of like how I mentioned earlier, that burst weapons for certain characters, it will be released in increments. Their burst weapons will be realizable, exactly like EX weapons. Same concept. There's going to be a new book to realize burst weapons, so a burst realizable book, and there's going to be new burst ingots and burst nuggets. And upon limit breaking those burst weapons, they will improve during the damage itself, during the finished burst. You will get an additional turn during the burst mode, and on the final limit break, your finished burst becomes a usable ability. You will get another ability that is literally the finished burst, okay? So upon using the finished burst ability, the burst effect is still active. It becomes active without going into your burst mode. So what you can do, you can literally use a burst ability, benefit from the burst effect, and when it's going to run out, go into your burst mode, and then during the finished burst, get the damn burst effect again. Or you can initiate several burst effect abilities if there's multiple units on your team that has their burst effect or burst weapons at 3 out of 3. So for example, Cloud of Darkness, use her burst effect ability, right, for that AoE damage, and then go into the burst mode with someone else. It's insane. But Luffenia Plus is brutal if you're not prepared, because we're going to be seeing brave damage reductions up to 90%, at least 90%. Brave damage reductions. If you're not ready, your units are going to be hitting like a wet noodle, plain and simple. And brave gain reductions, I think it was 70 or 80%. I could be wrong, but it was high up there. Oh man, if you're not ready, you might quit. I'm not going to lie, you might quit. You might quit. So Zidane, powerful unit. Him and Istola are amongst the first burst plus characters. I would actually recommend going for the support characters if you are trying to plan around this, because like I mentioned earlier, is that support type characters last longer in the meta, so to say. So having her burst effect, allowing your party members to hit harder, and then doing it again. I value Istola more over Zidane, but Zidane is a powerful attacker with his LD. He does receive a rework, but his power lies with his LD. Whenever he breaks an enemy, he has an Emmett-Italian effect where he would delete that enemy's turn. But this does get shut down sometime here, because I think the devs allowed it, but then they were like, no, let's shut that down. So if you keep deleting the turns, the enemies are going to start having a counter. If they don't act within a certain amount of player turns, they will skip ahead and do a lot of damage towards your party members. So although very, very powerful, Zidane is very powerful, he does see some shutdown rather quickly. So that's what I'm trying to say. Get the burst plus. So me personally, if I could pick up the LD, awesome. If I could get his burst weapon, great. But Istola will be my burst plus character. 3 out of 3, no questions asked. Renault gets boards here. Beatrix is an excellent unit. She gets boards and she does follow-ups with everything she does, and whenever an enemy acts, there are follow-ups. And the beautiful thing about the follow-ups is that it ignores defense. So she has been seeing use on the Luffenia Plus era, because defense ignoring or defense reducing debuffs are a thing for Luffenia Plus, allowing those units to hit harder. Like Beatrix can cap out in brave damage in Luffenia Plus. So yeah, so if you don't have either of these units, Beatrix alone would be an awesome win. But Istola, again, burst plus. If I am going to get her initially, that's the plan. So she should be ready for this. Renault, I already personally have. She does get better, which is nice. Guy doesn't receive a damn thing. I was very surprised Guy didn't get a damn thing. But of course, with the proper team composition, he is viable. What's her name? Sync. Reworked. She becomes a delayer. So that's fine. Aphmau has always been a great unit. She has the capabilities to... She didn't get a rework, right? Just an LD. LD, improvements towards your parties, but the great thing about this is that you're not going to be seeing a lot of damage with her, like her own brave damage. It's not going to be great, but with her LD, she selects an ally, and for a few turns after she acts, she brings that ally's turn right after hers. So her with someone called the Sid Reigns is absolutely broken. Tifa is repeated on here, but I mean, at that point, sure, for summon board grind if you want. This guy, yes, I am going to go for him. So you guys know how Lael and Kais are pretty much the kings for chase teams. This guy amplifies that by so much on his own. Let me put it into perspective. Him on your team, right? Because chase, it involves the entire team, okay? This guy can casually, just use his second ability. This guy can casually do 1,000,000 damage. Total, with the entire party, of course, during a chase sequence. 1,000,000 HP damage casually. Assuming you have Panda up and all that wonderful stuff that allows your party members to do more HP damage during the chase sequences. Excellent. He's a battery, brave battery, turn manipulator. With his second ability, his LD, he moves your entire party next to his. He batteries them. With his EX ability, he batteries, he delays, initiates chase sequences. If he initiates the chase sequence at the very end, so, all right, so he initiates the chase sequence, right? Your second party member acts, the third party member acts. He gets to act again on the last, as a fourth unit. He does more damage, dumps it out. I can't tell you how strong this guy is. Now, of course, there are Luffys that can shut him out, that resist chase sequences, but it's kind of like how I've been saying with Kais and Lael, is that they will work very well where they work. He is very strong. He is a very strong unit. Is he needed? No, but I can't tell you how strong this guy is as the new chase king. Who's Lael? Who's Kais? So, and his turn manipulation shenanigan is carried over with his LD call action. And if you do that properly into a burst effect, you can still keep that effect, if I remember correctly. I haven't done it myself. We could constantly initiate chase sequences during the burst mode. I'm sorry, not burst effect, burst mode, if you use the Sid Reigns LD call action. So, oh my gosh, very powerful unit. So yes, I want that power on my team composition. Mog, if I don't pick him up earlier, this is where I'll probably pick him up. I'll probably get like 6 of his LDs, and then I'll have to pity him. That's how it's been. Ace, we're almost done, guys. We're almost done. Thank you guys for sticking around. This is turning out much longer than it was supposed to be, but it is plans for several months. My personal plans, at least. Transcendence 5. Mummies. Oh, I hated those mummies. But Ace and Bartz are to receive Burst Plus. They are the second set of Burst Plus characters. You can get them both to 3 out of 3. My choice is going to be Bartz. He's going to be my 3 out of 3 unit. Mind you, I did not make these decisions on the JP side of the game. I went the opposite. On JP, Zidane is 3 out of 3 for me. Cloud of Darkness is 3 out of 3. And the twins, these guys. So I'm going to switch that up on the global side of the game and do it properly. So Bartz is going to be my 3 out of 3 because Bartz with his... He receives adjustments, but with his Burst Plus, I believe it was 3 out of 3. Where you guys remember when I talk about Bartz's LD weapon, where he can, there's an aura that lowers the enemy's wind resist down without inflicting a debuff. With his burst effect, he can enhance your party members with wind. Excellent Brave Battery, gravity type unit, party wide auras. Bartz is an excellent unit to pick up as your Burst Plus characters. He has seen a lot of play for the Luffenia Plus era. So I would highly recommend you guys chase after him. So it really depends on my previous pull plans. I should have him already when his LD and Burst first debut, so he should be ready for this. Ace is a very nice magic attacker. He does receive rework LD, Burst weapon. With his LD weapon, lots of damage. He inflicts a debuff. When that debuff is triggered, another debuff is inflicted. Whenever anything does something, there will be damage on the enemies. Just damage. Lots of damage. So in terms of pure, utter damage, Ace is seriously a good consideration for you guys to pick up, especially when there's multiple enemies. Lots of damage. So I seriously want to pick up his gear on the global side of the game if I can, because I really like what he does. Yeah, very, 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 very powerful character. Boards, you get better. I've never really been a fan of Kamari. That's just me. Ferris does repeat here, so if you did miss her out from before, There you go. LD call action for you. Wonderful call action in terms, again, for the attack down, defense down. She has other debuffs, I forget, but I know there's a poison-like debuff in there also, but her attack down and defense down are extremely potent, so that's going to help you out. Now, if I do pick up Ace's LD here, I want to chase the burst, potentially with Quistis. We'll see how that month goes. So it's either Quistis or Zach, but Quistis preferably, because Quistis with her LD improves your party's Brave gain. And that does come in handy for Luffenia Plus because that is carried over to her LD call action. For those of you that paid attention, that Luffenia Plus, there are higher Brave damage reductions and Brave gain reduction gains towards your party members. So Quistis can help ease that a bit. And she's the ultimate delayer because you guys have seen, even currently now with Luffenia, when enemies receive that frame, they can't be delayed. Quistis ignores that. She can still delay them even if they can't be delayed. Quistis don't give an F. She can delay them. So great support utility type character to add onto the team composition. All right, Naya. At this point, if I don't have her, I really don't care about her. Prompto, I really don't care about either. So if I'm gonna skip them. I'm still not interested in Palom, but I mean, if I pick him up here, that's fine. Zach becomes a better tank. He receives a rework, LD boards, but his damage is going to come from his first ability if he is attacking a target targeting himself, which he should be doing constantly. There will be follow-up damage. So Zach becomes a more aggressive tank. He's a really good aggressive type tank character. So if you guys are lacking in a tank, that might not be a bad pickup. But I mean, there's this guy in the following month, but we'll talk about that here in a second. Ashe, at this point, I still don't care about. But if I do pick up her LD here, might not be a bad time for me to go back to Strago's Lost Chapter and take on that Luffy, especially if I don't have a Thunder Party-Wide or Holy Enhancer. Last month, gosh damn it. So November, again, all of these are predictions. Vayne and Cloud of Darkness are the third set of Burst Plus characters. Vayne, he does come in very handy during this era. Just keep in mind that you will hear players say that he gets shafted during even his own Luffenia, because if this is where enemies start seeing a lot more of that, if they haven't taken a turn in like 10 player turns, they will skip ahead and almost nuke your party members. You can't survive it, but it hurts. It hurts. So you might hear players say that Vayne gets shafted, but he does come in very handy during the Kate Sith Luffenia Plus. He's a good attacker. I wouldn't say a must pull, but if I can pick him up here, I would love to. This might change for me personally. Truthfully, it might change, but if I do pick up his LD here, I will pick up his burst weapon with Kate Sith. I have full plans to go ham for Kate Sith. He is a support type character. He always has been. Buffs, HP healing, battery towards the party with his LD. Whenever your party members crit, which he gives your party members 100% crit rate up, they will get Brave based on, I think it was their max Brave off the top of my head, every time they do a Brave attack. So it's not in the entirety of the animation, it's literally during each single Brave attack. So if you have an attacker that has multiple Brave attacks during their animations, they are going to be dumping out more HP at the end of their attack animation, okay? So if you don't have units like Setzer, get Kate Sith, okay? He's a great alternative. I mean, put him on the same damn team. That's what I'm trying to say. But if you don't have Setzer, Kate Sith at this point is an excellent pickup as a replacement for the one they call the Setzer, okay? But either way, great character, great support type character to pick up to allow your party members to dump out more Brave at the end of their attack animation. Now, going back, if you did skip out on a row before, this is a good spot to pick her up, but me personally, it really depends if I get her sooner or not. If I am going to be chasing after Vayne's LD and burst weapons, it's possible I could pick her up here, so maybe I'll skip her earlier for here. Her call action will come in very handy. Strago doesn't see any improvements, so sorry Strago, I could care less. If I have Cloud of Darkness from before, which I think I might go ham for her, I will. It really depends. If I only get her LD and I don't pick up her burst, I might try to go for her burst here. I don't know yet if I'm going to. What the hell? Oh, look, it's Arden. If I don't get her burst weapons Then during her debut, I might pick it up here. Have half of mine to 3 out of 3 her again because of her burst effect ability, because of that extra damage. But I can't tell you how amazing she is as a friend support. But you could try to get away with shenanigans by having her on the team, using the burst ability for the burst effect, and then going into another character's burst mode just to dish out lots of damage, especially with the twins Lon and Rain. Okay. So we already covered Kate Sith. I am going to go ham. Gabranth is the 3rd time we are seeing him. Someone at Square Enix loves Gabranth. Someone loves Final Fantasy 12. This is the 3rd time we're going to be seeing his LD repeat. Shulk. She is interesting. So we're getting Fujin reran again. So if you missed out on her, this is a good spot to do so. Mine is going to depend on the previous. I am a Final Fantasy 7 fan. She is from Dirge of Cerberus. I might throw tickets on this banner. She's an attacker. She's literally a pure attacker type character. She's a very selfish attacker that gets back to back turns if you play her correctly. So you can burn through her abilities, but her gimmick is that upon using her LD ability, she will refresh everything except her LD back to full usages. All of her abilities and her EX will be fully charged. So that is the gimmick for her Luffenia, actually. Vayne can refresh both of his abilities, so he can fill that role if you don't happen to pick up Shulk. I'm sorry, the gimmick is that your party member, someone has to refresh both of their abilities in order to increase the special counter. Since Shulk can do that, that is where she shines. But Vayne can do that after using his EX ability. Also, just be sure you have used them a little bit, okay? So tickets on this banner. If I don't have either of these units, it might be a good spot also, especially if I get Kate Sith earlier, for me to get the burst weapon on there. Also, it is possible. We're almost done, guys. Lan and Rain, the AoE king and queen. That's what they are. They do so much AoE damage. So much AoE damage. My opinion might change. They might go to green. Okay, they might go to green. Just saying. It might change by then. Okay, so Lan and Rain, they do receive a rework. They do more damage with the first and second ability. They don't really see that much improvements in terms to their buffs. You have to use both of their abilities to refresh their buff in order to get their other buff. They really don't see a change in that. You can refresh that specific buff by using their LD weapon. If there's at least 2 enemies on the field, they will repeat their LD damage. It's a lot of damage. Their burst, just more damage. Utter freaking damage. Trying to think of anything else special for them. Not really. They have the capabilities to inflict elemental resistances down for their own kit. So they're very strong. They are very strong. So I might change my mind about them. They are actually my 3 out of 3 burst plus units on the JP side of the game. Yeah, Sabin gets repeated again. Great defense ignoring magic attacker if you don't have him yet. This really depends on if I get him before or not. Garland, I am hoping to plan to get him sooner. He may be my burst plus 3 out of 3 unit, maybe. We will see, depending how my resources are during this time. Rosa, I do have plans to try to pick her up sooner, but if I don't, this is another great spot to do so. Vanille, she's coming in hot with a rework and LD over here alongside with Cryo. Really depends if I pick up Cryo sooner or not. I don't have Cryo yet. Vanille, I would love to throw tickets on this banner. She's still Dispeller. She improves your party's damage, especially if the enemies don't have any buffs on them. So excellent Dispeller. Excellent debuffer. All right, so Garnet receives a rework. I thought she received a rework. I might be crazy, but she gets an LD. Better damage. She summons in something out of the sky, some kind of Transformers that does more damage after a certain amount of stacks. It stacks up every time somebody acts. So she's a good, was it Thunder and Water Enhancer and Imperialer support type character. So that's fine. Camelot, I still, you know what? I to this day I still don't care about you. I'm sorry. I just don't. I'm sorry, Camelot fans. I just don't. Boss Rush number 6. Orin. This is where you see no. So Orin, I was gonna say this is where you kind of see an interesting aura-like power spikes. So to say with Orin is an excellent character. That is even further true if your party members are melee type attackers. So Orin, he is a melee imperialer. He becomes a counter tank at this point. Okay, he is an absolute legendary guardian. If you guys are lacking in a tank, pick him up. Pick him up. Regardless, pick him up. He is a very powerful character. If I remember correctly, with his debuffs, Orin just by himself can do up to 80% brave damage up to himself. By himself. Party members, if they're melee type damage, I believe it was up to 60%. But 80% brave damage up just to himself almost negates everything. The negations from Luffenia plus the reductions, the 90% brave damage reductions, Orin can negate that for himself. And that's just himself. So if you pair him up with other types of auras that increase the party's brave damage up, he hits hard. He hits very hard. Very good unit to consider. 7, yeah, nope. Charlotta has still yet to receive some love. And I did add these on. Again, I don't have an updated version quite yet. Jack and Arden become the Burst Plus characters. Pick him up specifically for his music, his theme song. Was it Otherworld? Overworld? I think it was Otherworld. Correct me if I'm wrong. Just if you're a rocker, go for it. It's beautiful. Go into his burst mode. It is awesome. He has a gimmick kind of like Vaughn. Whenever he attacks, the enemies will naturally lower the resistances to fire, so it just allows him to hit harder. So he is a pure attacker that has the capabilities to act back to back when he breaks an enemy. Arden, I actually haven't researched him yet, truthfully. I really haven't. I'm sure he gets better, but he got a burst plus 3 out of 3. I don't know. I must have not left an impact. I really should go back and read what he does, but whatever I did read, it must have not left an impact. And Maria just got her LD the day of making this video, so I believe it was higher brave gain towards your party. I think it was 20% with brave damage up. I wasn't that impressed. Me personally, there's other units I would rather have. So you know what? Yeah, that's where I'm at. So, and then going forward, we'll see what happens. All right, guys. So thank you guys for sticking around for like an hour. This was a long one, but again, I wanted to have you guys see my own personal pull plans for the several months to come. Hopefully this can influence you. All right. And what you guys are going to pull for with my very shitty descriptions about what potentially characters do. All right, friends. So yeah, so that is my plans up until the Burst Plus era. All right, friends. So again, thank you to Jakey Maddie for creating this visual forecast calendar, and the other one from Bash 1306. Again, those will be down below in the description, friends, and let me know your own personal plans down below in the description in terms of what you guys want to do for the several months that are to come. Again, friends, I highly recommend that at this point right here, you guys seriously start to save for the Luffenia Plus era. Try to pick up some of those units that I did say that were must-pull units, like Porum, Setzer. Units that came in very handy are Ristola, Bartz during the Luffenia Plus era. They came in very useful. Cloud of Darkness as a friend support. And anywhere else, wherever you can make some of these stronger units work, will definitely work out for you. All right, friends. So, all right, all that wonderful stuff. Again, let me know your own personal plans down below. What you guys think of this long of a video. I was hoping it wasn't be this long, but unfortunately it was, but it is what it is. So if you guys like this type of video, again, let me know down below in the comments. All right, all that wonderful stuff down below. I'm a little tired from all the talking. All right, friends, so I will see you guys on the next one. So until next time, friends, good luck and have a good one.